Where does the yield
You
come
don't know
from?
where the yield comes from, it comes from you.
Hey guys, thank you very much for taking the time and sit down with me today. Let's start very basic. What is Powerbomb?
Powerbomb is a DeFi money robot. Okay, it helps you earn liquidity mining rewards in a crypto of your choice. That's what Powerbomb does.
Let's start there first. How can we imagine a money robot?
Think of a money robot as a tool that has only one job. It just wants to help you make more crypto, right? And that's what Powerbomb does. You show up the Powerbomb's app, you leave your stablecoins with us, and we will go farm some rewards for you and return that back to you in a crypto of your choice, like ETH or WBTC, whatever your choice.
Okay, and so maybe let's follow up there with the cliche question for the maybe a bit more advanced people. Where does the yield come from?
Yield. Where does the yield
You
come
don't know
from?
where the yield comes from, it comes from you. No, so right now, the main product that we have is a stable coin. We are farming on Curve tree pool. So it's DAI, USDC, USDT, the three largest stable coins that's been around for the longest. So we provide liquidity in Curve using your stable coin. And then the rewards we farm are either CRV AVEX or CRVN1, depending on which chain you're on. And those rewards, we sell them for the crypto asset of your choice, which right now you can choose is between the two highest market cap crypto assets, so Bitcoin and Ether.
Think of it this way, right? If you are a yield farmer on a DEX, let's say you are farming on Trader Joe, you earn Joe coins. You farm on Curve, you earn CRV coins. You farm on Sushi, you get Sushi coins. But not everybody wants to hold on to these coins, right? Maybe you prefer to hold them in a blue chip or a major. We do that swap for you. We take those coins, we harvest them regularly, and then we swap them on-chain into whatever you want.
How do you get the idea to build a money robot in the first place? Like, why do something like that?
Okay, one of the funniest things about this is because we both realized that we were doing the exact same thing every day. And then when we talked to a couple of funds that we are managing money for, they also like doing this similar thing. And we realized there's a market for it. And everybody wants to actually do something like that. A lot of people want to sell their yield into a coin they prefer to hold long term. And DeFi, and that's the whole reason for the existence of like a blockchain like Ethereum, right? Just to make your life easier. Automate everything so you can spend less time pressing buttons on your computer.
Let the robot do the money making, right? Humans go watch Netflix. You don't do all this.
That's right. But then, of course, what would be interesting, of course, since you're automating things, there has to be some sort of fee for that process. What's that?
So if you think about traditional fund management, a very typical fee structure is the 2 and 20, right? 2% on management fees, 20% on performance, on profits, right? So the traditional fund manager charges you 2 and 20. Think of Powerbomb as a 0 and 5. No management fee, but 5% on the yield that we earn for you. So that's the fee that comes in. That's where our platform income is.
Honestly, I didn't know it was that low.
It's friendly, right? We want scale, we want volume. So we go with a lower fee, but to try and attract more TVL first.
Yeah.
Because once you build a robot, right, it's a smart contract. Once you build a robot, it just does the same thing over and over again in exactly the same way, 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. And that is just to make money for you, right?
Maybe let's roll it back a little bit and go to the beginning again, because we had some more advanced questions in between. Let's say I'm pretty new to DeFi. I have my wallet set up. I'm already multi-chain, but I have not done much. Like, what do I need to use Powerbomb, and how would I go about it?
Okay, so first thing first is Powerbomb's live on two chains, AVEX and Harmony. But given in your situation, you said a beginner is already multi-chain, right? So you would need gas for whichever chain you're on, either in the form of AVEX tokens or WAN tokens. And then you just go to powerbomb.finance. So you don't, that's one of the cool part about Powerbomb. We don't need you to come in with your LP token or your YCRV ETH nonsense token. You don't need to do that. You come in with your fresh token your USDC, your USDT, or your DAI, and we'll take care of the rest. We'll take care of the rest for you. So you choose which token you want to deposit, how much you want to deposit, what you want to earn, and all you need is gas and the token of your deposit. And we'll do everything else for you.
Gotcha. And for now, we have stables on the one hand, the stable input, and the Bitcoin in.
Ether on the as outputs, yeah.
But we do the zapping, the farming, the staking, the harvesting, all of that for you in one contract.
There are two questions, like right after, they're very similar. Because we said stables input on the one hand and Bitcoin and ETH output on the other hand. Do you have plans for other assets on either of those directions?
So the first version of Powerbomb that you currently know, which is deposit your stable coins, pick a yield that you want to earn. That's the current version, right? But it was basically only the MVP that we started this idea with. But the further version of this app would will allow you as a user to farm things that are not stablecoin LPs. Let's say a favorite LP for you may be Ether and AVAX from Trader Joe, right? Yeah, it's a good LP with two good coins, right? You can take the LP and you deposit in Powerbomb instead, right? So as long as it earns yield, you can deposit that LP token, right? So from there, as long as it earns yield, you can choose to swap it out into something else. A good example would be, let's say, a yield-bearing token like SAVAX, right? Or maybe you want to use your governance power to vote. I want to earn some, I don't know, what's a dog meme coin? Maybe you want to use your governance power to say, I want to start earning all these Shiba tokens, right? Maybe you can do that. So it's going to be a protocol that allows people that flexibility to come up with whatever ideas they want.
So one of the next ones I would say that we are going to launch as soon as we can is we're going to allow you to earn your rewards in the native chains token. So when you're on Avex, we allow you to earn your rewards in Avex, and on Harmony, we allow you to earn your rewards in One. So I think that's probably the most desirable rewards for the people on that respective chain. Yeah.
It's something that users have fed back to us, given feedback to us on Avalanche, right? They said, it'd be great if one of the output options was AVAX, right? I'm here, I want to be maybe a maxi for this period of time in my life. I want to be an AVAX maxi, I want to accumulate as much as we can. So I think that there was a demand for that.
Is there also, or you're also planning on giving stables as output choice?
Yes, so stables as output choice would come into the second part of Powerbomb V2, which is what Dennis sort of described earlier. So now you have stablecoin LPs earning volatile assets. So in V2, it's the other way. You can have volatile assets earning stablecoin yield. So if you want to take, let's say you have a lot of Ether and Bitcoin, right? And now Bitcoin's at 100 grand, Ether's at 10 grand, let's say at this point of time. And then you don't want to sell your Bitcoin and Ether because it's just going to go up in the future, but you want to take some profit. I think this is a very good way to take profit because you LP, you might lose a bit of Bitcoin or Ether on the permanent loss, but all your yield, at least you get to cash out your yield. Yeah.
I think there's some practical benefits to this version of the app as well, where your output is stable coins. Right? Because if you leave our smart contract to do this harvesting and swapping for you, it doesn't become an active trading event for your tax purposes. Right? So if you are a retail trader and you're swapping this manually, well, good luck. You're gonna have to go record your trades, right? You're gonna go pay tax on those trades. But if you leave that with a smart contract and you keep extracting your yield in the form of stable coins for you to spend, it helps to shortcut a problem for a user, typically an American user.
Makes sense, yeah. Right. And my follow-up to that would be, because we mentioned Avalanche, we mentioned Harmony. What else are you looking at? What chains are interesting for Powerbomb?
So the one thing right off the bat, like what we realized with Powerbomb is on EVM chains, they are the easiest to build. There's really a lot of liquidity on EVM chains in general. And we just need fast and cheap chains. Because it would make very little sense for us to do this on a chain like Ethereum, right? Because if we're going to harvest, like right now we are harvesting like every time the yield amount is like $50, $60. We can't do that on Ethereum because we're going to pay $50, $60 in gas. So it makes no sense. So obviously if we get to a scale large enough and and Ethereum really does work out with all these layer 2s and stuff, we will build on Ethereum where gas fees, if they do become cheaper. But for right now, we are focusing on EVM L1s that already have cheap gas fees. So we're looking at Phantom. We are already live on Avex and One. We're also looking at an optimistic roll-up Metis. Yeah, so a couple of these chains.
Our security advisor, Mudit, he has just joined Polygon. I'm pretty sure we'll be building something there as well.
Makes sense. So honestly, wherever the yield lies, right? Wherever has the most yield at this point of time, we want to be able to move and deploy immediately, because the fact that we're already on EVM makes it very easy. So we want to be able to move and deploy as quickly as possible. Yep.
If you want to share, it would be interesting to know, for example, some of the protocols that Powerbomb is utilizing to achieve this.
Yeah, so a couple of protocols that we use, like right now, the main thing that we are live on only uses Curve, because it's fully stablecoin pools, and Curve has been the longest reigning, like it's been there for the longest period of time, so we figured that would be the safest. But we're also experimenting right now. We are building on Trader Joe. It's actually already live, we're just testing it. We also have something built on Phantom where we are using Solidly, but we also haven't launched it yet because we're still testing phase. So these are the couple of protocols we're looking at. So on Harmony, we'll look at Sushi, maybe even DeFi Kingdom on their decks. Yeah, so these are a couple.
I mean, just to summarize, right? As long as you are using a DEX, or as long as you're farming incentives on a DEX, we want to integrate together with that, right? So as long as you're paying your users some yield, we will create as an option for our users to make their income through Powerbomb.
I forgot to add on one part. So one interesting thing about Powerbomb is we don't just harvest your yield. Like for example, we sell your Curve and Avex to Bitcoin. We don't stop there. We deposit your Bitcoin into Aave. So we also use Aave. So you're also earning interest. Yes, minimum interest, but 2% is better than 0%, right? So we're at least still earning something. We still stake your Bitcoin and your Ether into Aave, and then we earn yield, and we just compound that Bitcoin and Ether. So now I think Aave V3 just got live on Harmony, so we're going to add that feature into Harmony as well.
And then of course it makes sense with using low-cost chains, because if you have small earnings and you're always putting it into Aave, it makes sense. It makes sense. Very cool. I'm very sorry that I have to ask a very cliche question, because you might know that one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is that you don't have a token, but I'm sure many people are very curious. So I just wanted to ask, is there anything you want to share, can share? You don't have to. We can leave you smiling and get to the next question. It's fine.
I mean, we all know what we got to do, right? Everyone who's been in this space, you know what you got to do. So, yeah. I'll leave it at that.
So it might be interesting to check it out. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Is there something else for the future that's coming up that you are excited about to talk about or to share?
So while we were here in the Avalanche conference in Barcelona, we've met a lot of interesting ecosystem partners we want to collaborate with. Maybe you could be like a metaverse or GameFi project that wants to do treasury management services, right? They just want to build a game, but we know how to make income to extend your runway, right? So we would love to collaborate with partners like that. We've spoken to some other DeFi primitives on Avalanche to build something together with them, right? So the big picture is that we are a money robot, right? We'll build whatever it is that extracts money in an automated and frequent way, okay? So if you think about what Powerbomb actually does for the user, when you show up to Powerbomb, you put your money in here, we create an LP token for you by depositing your liquidity, right? We stake that to earn your yields. We harvest your yields into the coin that you prefer to earn. We take that coin that you prefer to earn, like Ether, and we put it in a bank to earn interest rates for you. Because all this was stuff that we were doing manually. And now we just said, you know what? We know how to find a bunch of people that can write a code together. We know how to prepare code that is clean. We've been audited twice, by the way. came back clean, right? And we actually have live TVL in there. So think of it as just a way to put your money in there, get some yield, come back. Every time you come back, the balance in there is higher and higher and higher, right?
The funny thing is, unless you get your Black Swan event in stable coins, your balance will never be lower because we are farming stable coins for yield. So it's interesting.
Theoretically, is a upward sloping curve on your equity. It will never. I mean, I'm not. In this theory, in this universe of DeFi logic, it is a graph that should always go up in terms of your equity value.
At least that works. That is what works for V1.
And if some protocol, if anything were to blow up, right? If anything was up in this thing, it would be because of something that we've been building together with the underlying feature or the underlying pool that was blown up. That would be the reason that we blow up, right? So that would be the that would be the major external risk that we see.
Because there is always risk in DeFi.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to talk about the risk, right? We have done our work to make sure it's as safe as possible for our end user. We have done our security reviews. We've had this reviewed multiple times by at least 5 different developers from 5 different independent places. DeFi is still very risky, it's true, but we have chosen like a really reliable pool like Curve. Right? As far as DeFi 1.0 goes, you're not going to find many more reputable ones than Curve, right? And so we chose to build on that. The strategy was meant to be sound enough for family offices to leave their treasury with us. So we've done the reasonable steps, I believe.
I think that was one of the biggest reasons we chose Curve also.
Now you could choose, like some degen Binance Smart Chain copycat number 10,000 of Pancake Swap.
3,000% APR.
Yeah, and then you expose yourself to a rug risk. Or you could use Curve where the yield's not so high. But the people that we are servicing are not, looking for that. They want something that's reliable. Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, thank you guys. My last question is always, is there something you want to tell to my audience? Or if not, it's always, how can they find you? How can they find you guys? If you want to share that.
Powerbomb. If it's your first time with DeFi, if you've heard of yield farming, you heard of all the returns that people have been telling you about, but you don't know where to start, I fully empathize with you, right? DeFi is a real, it's a real mess to get into if you are. It's like watching a series and you don't start at season 1, episode 1. You jump in at season 7, episode 8, and you're like, what the f am I watching? It is very hard, right? You gotta empathize with the new user. It is extremely difficult. So we are here to streamline that thing into a what happened previously. This is what Powerbomb does. So we compact all that real money-making juice for you, and then you can go on a journey after that. So I mean, if you're a new user to DeFi, try it out, Powerbomb.finance. It's designed for people like you.
All roads lead to Powerbomb.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks a lot, Kirst.
And have a good one.
This was fun.
Bye-bye.
As if fish does already.